I've used these things before. That's right. I should have told you.
It's my first time ever using
right.
one of these.
All right, that's good.
All right, everybody
Right.
act
All right,
spontaneous. At least we don't have the moving
Yeah,
sheets.
right. Now it's recording. So let's start.
Welcome to Life List, a birding podcast.
Well, welcome everybody. I am George Armistead here, and I am in the city of Cali. We have a very special edition of Life List, a birding podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Molly Brown, but also with Nate Swick of the ABA podcast.
Podcast crossover event of the season.
Of the year,
That's
of
right.
the
The year.
century. Because we also have Chris Bell from the Birder Show. What's going on, guys?
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's fantastic to be in Cali and looking at some birds, getting excited to see some more birds.
Yeah.
This is a new part of the country for me, so yeah.
Western
Yeah.
Andes.
Western Andes.
Little taste of the Choco.
Occidental.
This is you guys both of your first times in Cali area.
It
right?
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yep.
Okay, so have you birded in the kind of the Choco like
No.
biogeographic zone before
I
in
have-
Panama or Ecuador?
Only up into Panama.
Okay.
And I've in Colombia, only been in the Central Andes.
Oh, so you're in for a whole load of
Very
lifers in
exciting.
front of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
actually in a very similar position.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just pulled in a couple hours ago. We're just getting started here.
Yep.
Awesome.
Nice.
This is my I think third visit to Cali in the last few months. But I mean, how are you not going to come to Cali all the time if you live in Colombia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really. It's a 400-year-old city, and it's like you got the Choco right nearby. You got the Western Andes here, both slopes, the Cauca Valley.
Cauca Valley Dry Forest.
Yeah, and this actually, Chris, this is the first time I've been back since right after I met you for the first time in Bogota for the ABA event that we did.
Oh, yeah. A few years ago.
What was it? 2018, I think it was.
Yeah,
and we were
I
in
think so.
Bogota, and then we flew here after. And I haven't been back here since then.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, so
Wow.
I've been to Colombia since, but not back to Cali.
Because we went to Suma
Pre-pandemic,
Pass
which
together.
feels like ancient history.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-pandemic might as well have been like, there might have been
Might as well have been the birth
glaciers
of
covering most
Cali
the
500 years ago.
United States. Yeah, no, it's awesome to be here, and just to kind of like you're going to be, as you listen, you're probably hearing quite a bit of ambient noise. We're right just at the edge of the main bird fair area. There's tents all over the place. There's a barefaced ibis that's
Oh,
flying
yeah, a
over,
couple of them. I
threatening
need to put that on the
poop us.
list.
Yeah. And
You bird that.
there's a lot
Yep,
of birds
got
around.
it.
There's a lot of birders around. There's a lot of exhibits, and we just had an agouti running around a few minutes ago. And as we're in a zoo, we were sort of debating
Yeah.
whether or not that was a wild animal or whether a zookeeper was.
Run past with a big butterfly net.
right.
Have you seen an agouti?
Yeah, so it's quite a scene, pretty exciting place to be. And this is really the first day, as we were discussing, of Bird Fair. We've got a lot coming up in the coming days. What are you looking forward to, Chris, here in the next couple of days at Bird Fair?
I mean, for me, these events are a great opportunity to catch up with people from all over Colombia who, are friends that I birded with all over the place, hang out, catch up, do some birding together. That's always really nice. And also, the places we're going. We're going to the Kilómetro 18, Kilometer 18. We're going to Sonso Lagoon and Alto Enchiqueya, Doña Dora's place. Not to play favourites, but Doña Dora's place is one of my favourite places on earth, not
Pretty
just for
tough to
birding.
beat.
And everything about that place.
Empanadas
The cheese empanadas,
Yeah.
the family,
Yeah.
the nicest people you could hope to spend time with, the most incredible location. And you when you go there, you don't believe it. It's hard to put into... These are garden birds, right? Like we just did a video on the show. It's like the best... We called it the best backyard birding in the world. But when I say backyard, I mean real backyard, not like people who live next to the jungle, but like this is their garden, their actual garden, with toucan barbets popping their heads into the kitchen.
Ridiculous.
It doesn't get much better.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. We were talking before. I've been to Enchiqueya a couple times before, but the first time I went, we saw 0 toucan barbets. The second time, we saw like one kind of in the distance, and it's quite a different show there now, I gather, with those birds.
At least half a dozen now hanging out at all times.
Unreal.
I think at least 1 or 2 active nests in the garden itself. And because they're cooperative breeders, the previous generations hang around and help raise the next generation of young. So there's always sort of half a dozen hanging out, preening. Like I said, I think we're probably 1 or 2 generations away from arriving and finding Doña Dora with one on her shoulder like a old school pirate with a parrot. It's like that. Some of them are almost like pets. There's a is it black-headed brushfinch, I think, that is like her little puppy in the garden. It comes out when she's there. It's great.
That's amazing.
How do you not love a bird that is named after another bird too?
Toucan barbet. Yeah, really. And it's like one of 2 species in that family. Tooth-billed barbet being the only other toucan barbet, so to speak. That's what they, I forget what the family name is offhand, but I guess by the English names they call them toucan barbets collectively.
Ramphastinus.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds right.
Oh no,
Trust you.
Ramphastinus. It's Semnornis. Semnornis ramphastinus.
Yeah, they're like the midway point between the barbets and the true barbets, I guess, neotropical barbets, and toucans themselves.
Yeah.
So toucan barbets, perfect name.
Yeah, it really is, and they look the part. You know, super colorful and crazy bill. So yeah, no, that's going to be awesome.
What about you guys? Where are you looking forward to going?
Well, as we were saying, these are all new birds for me over this way too, despite this being my second trip to Colombia. So I don't know, I think it's hard to pick a favorite, but I'm so excited. It's just, I mean, that's what's really cool about this place. You can go to so many different locations that are really close together and see totally different specialties.
Yeah.
So yeah, hard to pick a favorite there.
Yeah, I'm very much just along for the ride for the most part. In the bird industry, sometimes these trips kind of come together very quickly, and this one was one of those for me, and I didn't have a ton of time to plan, and so I'm just here for a good time, honestly.
It's a fun way to do it.
Yeah,
It's a really fun way to do it.
Yeah.
It's nice when you don't have any real expectations going into a trip, right?
Yeah.
You can just kind of let what happens happen.
Yeah, all the birds are going to be good birds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm psyched actually as much as anything for a new site for me. I've never been to Sonso before.
You've never been?
No. Yeah. So we actually, when we did that ABA event here years ago, I did Kilometer 18 a bunch, and that was fantastic. But I didn't make it to Sonso, so looking forward to seeing that. I gather there's a screamer there that is seen on rare occasions.
Horn screamer.
Horn screamer,
Yeah,
like
screamer. Yeah, I'm not sure it's that rare occasions anymore.
Yeah.
I think the local guides have kind of figured out roughly where that bird hangs out.
Okay.
That seems a very common story among Colombian birders. Like, oh, this bird used to be very difficult, and now it is, eating worms at your feet.
Yeah,
True.
Exactly.
I think a lot of
pretty
it
incredible.
is just it's incredible. Like, I've been here for 10 years, and I remember coming to these events 7-8 years ago, and there weren't that many people, and a lot of it is just more observers, right?
Yeah.
More
Oh, yeah,
birders
for
means
sure.
more records. So you've got, I was just talking to some people from Arauca, the region on the Venezuela border, who've got a new site for the helmeted curassow. Like a bird that was completely mythical in Colombia until 6 months ago. And now there's a site for it, and probably straight away someone else will, I've got that bird in my back.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
start
The
seeing
word gets
photos
out,
on
yeah.
social media, and the word gets out. It's, and no, Sonso, you'll love Sonso.
Yeah.
Wear bug spray.
Yeah. I understand it can be and a little
Good
buggy.
to know.
but-
Yeah, it's quite buggy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of mythical birds, one of the coolest things I think that I've gotten to do in my month or so here, I've been in Colombia basically a month now, and just last week, Molly and I, with the Lifeless Gang here, the group that we've been birding with around the Central Andes and now here in the Western Andes in Cali, we got to experience the Ant Pitta show there at
really
Rio
a show.
Blanco. And then also at Hacienda El Bosque. So we saw,
Yeah.
6 ant pittas in 2 days or something.
Yeah.
Which if
Yep.
you told, imagine saying that to somebody like 10 years ago, that you were going to see 6
Yeah.
species of ant
It's like,
pittas
are
in
you a
2
wizard?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're a sorcerer? How do you conjure these things? But yeah, no, I mean, it was a hell of a show, and a bird that I have always wanted to see. I used to work with Robert S. Ridgely, wrote The Birds of South America, and I would, as a young guy working there, I would go and pester him all the time and just try to chat him up. And I remember he came back from a trip to Ecuador with like a film photo of a crested ant pitta, and he couldn't stop, a crescent-faced ant pitta, and he just couldn't stop. Usually it was me going in there, chatting him up. When I go in there, he's showing me this photo, and he was gushing about it. This is like a ghost bird that, like nobody sees, didn't exist. And here he has a photo, like probably one of the first ever film photos of this thing. And I remember being like, boy, that thing looks pretty handsome and
nice-
real cute as well.
Yeah.
Those
cute.
growlericulas. And so I came here, the first time I came here, 2016, they had just started feeding this thing, but we couldn't go in for a variety of reasons that I won't bore people with. But then the second time we were to go here, that I was to go see those birds and try to see them, they just weren't there. Something happened. They think that maybe like an ocelot got one of them, or like the equatorial ant pittas came in and pushed them out and kicked them out of their territory. So we totally dipped on them. And so this time we get there and they're actually sitting there before the antpitta whisperer is there, waiting to be fed.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Waiting to be fed. We just got there. We couldn't believe it.
Well, we kind of had our group
Lunita,
like
yeah.
winding down the path, and then you start hearing like the whispers come up, like they're here, and then they're just hanging out. They weren't going anywhere. They were waiting.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild to just see these things. Just
You're lucky as well
perched
because it's much more regular. But that bird, they don't show up every single day. So to get them waiting there for you is.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, look over the edge, and there's just two of them sitting right there.
Now, was that your favorite part of that experience?
Good question, Molly. Yeah, but the naming of these antpittas is a lot of fun, and these two were named
Lunita, yeah.
and George. And they were calling him George Looney collectively.
George Looney. That's
Clooney.
funny. Yeah, that's very good.
So, but like we were sitting there, and the guy, the antpitta whisperers, just starts calling out George, George, and I'm looking around like, what? Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, it's pretty wild to see these antpittas now. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, like they were just ghosts of the forests, and now literally they're taking worms out of people's hands.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it minimizes the experience at all to see them in that sort of very? I'll spill my opinion on this. I don't think it does because these are fantastic birds and you want to be able to see them, but it is a little weird sometimes walking up and having them come out to you like they're little pets.
Yeah.
We just talked about this on the bus ride over here.
Yeah.
Actually, our group was talking about it.
Yeah. It's like, I think we all kind of see all sides of it, right? Which is like, in some ways it feels a little manipulated or unnatural. But at the same time, it's like utterly wondrous, right? Like
At the same time, you're looking at a crescent-faced
yeah,
antpitta.
exactly.
And
Like,
that reality is there too.
Yeah, they call them eggs with legs, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden these things come bounding up to you, and you're just like, what? One of the people on our trip, Meryl, she described the experience with the chestnut-crowned antpittas. She said they look so earnest, which I thought was such a great adjective for them. And they do. We had 3 chestnut-crowned antpittas, and they each kind of have different personalities as well.
Yeah.
I think the feeding thing, again, having seen it grow, because, even in the time that I've lived here, it's gone from Rio Blanco being basically the only place that fed antpittas to a dozen places at least around Colombia. Where I would say there's probably at least a dozen species of antpitta currently being fed. In Wheeler Department, they just successfully fed hooded antpitta for the first time.
Yeah, like a mythical bird again.
Yeah, exactly.
They
And that
all
bird
are,
is now
yeah.
coming to feed us. But the thing that I think you've got to think about is how you weigh up the sort of the feeding element, the slightly kind of plastic element that you were talking about, with the conservation impact that it can have. Because a lot of
I
these
agree.
reserves only exist because somebody saw someone else feeding antpittas and thought, well, okay, that bird is calling in my bit of forest. Maybe if I feed it, I can get tourists to come here. And 2 or 3 individual birds become a little bit habituated. But these places wouldn't be protected if it weren't for the feeding
Yeah.
the antpittas.
Precisely,
And, it's a lot of people also inspired them to become birders because I think giving people close views and connections with birds is often the way to spark an
For sure.
interest and
Especially
and
Right,
a bird as charismatic as any of those antpittas.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate, I forget what the ABA has, like a certificate of appreciation or maybe an award that they gave to Angel Paz some years ago.
Yeah, I
because he
believe
was
that's
kind
right.
of, he's the one that kicked it off in Ecuador. And I think, there's people I know in Colombia right around the same time that were starting
Yeah, I was going to say
there.
Diego Calderon will tell you that the Colombia started it before Ecuador, but
Yeah, is that
Angel
right?
Paz was definitely the first one that I heard.
Yeah, me
of
too.
people doing
yeah.
it. Yeah.
He was certainly on everybody's radar, I think, faster than some. But
It helped that he had like the giant antpitta, which was sort of the antpitta,
Right,
the
exactly.
antpitta-ist antpitta.
Yeah.
If that's,
We're still waiting on that one in Colombia. It's
Yeah.
out there.
It's out there.
It's
no
out
doubt.
there. We'll get it.
yeah, all in good time. It
Yeah.
seems like Colombians, you steal everybody else's endemics.
Well, Diego's been stealing Panama endemics halfway down the Choco Pacific coast.
I know. He's in very targeted fashion as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. He got Pire Clarospingus
Oh, wow.
from Panama. So,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing is safe. Nothing is
No.
safe with that guy. Yeah.
Although I was in Panama last fall, and I asked Carlos about that, Carlos Betancourt of Canopy Family, and he said that he's got people down in Darien stealing Colombian endemics too.
They're working just as hard as we are. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's literally nothing is safe. Yeah.
Ecuador have lost a fair few since Tumaco opened up to birding the little bit of the Colombian Pacific right on the coast there. A few of those kind of Tumbes region endemics are now kind of creeping up into Colombia.
Parrots going over.
Yeah, but I think, endemics, well, it's the cliche, but birds don't care about borders, right? So one should really it's nice to
Yeah,
to
they don't
spread
know
it
about
around.
our politics, which is one of the beautiful things about them. Yeah, I do think your point, I forget who said that, but you can't protect it if people can't see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bottom line with these antpidas is seeing them is such a special thing. It's people, if you can see them, some of the videos, somebody shot one of the videos in our group, I forget who it was, and you can just hear the voices of people and the gasp.
The gasp.
Yeah.
That gasp.
I mean, it really is sort
6
of
times over, by the way. It didn't get old with the 6 species of antpida for anybody in our group.
Yeah, not even a little. Yeah. And it was fun too. The equatorial antpida has such a different personality than the chestnut crowns and the crescent face. All of them really behave differently.
Yeah.
Did you get the slate-crowned antpitta at El Colo?
At Rio Blanco.
Rio Blanco.
Yeah, we had
they have it at Rio
4
Blanco,
antpidas
too.
before lunch.
Did it do the little dance? Did
Yeah,
it do the
it
little
does
wiggle?
the little wiggle,
Little
yeah.
grallaricula wiggle.
Yeah.
Love that.
Now there's one here, right? That's a grallaricula. That's a tororoi, as they call them, bailador,
Salsita.
right? Salsita.
Salsita.
The
It's perfect
antpitta
for
without
Cali.
a name.
Yeah.
Apart from Salsita. But no, it's the new species of grallaricula for science. It's discovered in Farallones de Cali National Park. I mean, no distance from where we are right now, which is one of the things that's incredible about Colombia. You can think that right on the border of a major city, there's a brand new species for science that's just been sitting there since what was discovered, I think, 2017.
Yeah.
Something like that. And originally by mistake, I think it was labelled as a juvenile of something that was discovered through somebody sifting through a museum.
It looks kind of like Peruvian, as I recall.
Very similar. I think originally there was a question of whether it was Peruvian, whether it was a new species. But yeah, new species.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, crazy.
Man.
Just one more point on the antpitta thing. It does remind me of some other strategies that have worked well for other animals too. When you think mountain gorillas in Uganda, the whole idea is that there are a handful of these troops that people can go to and visit that are habituated, and that protects the
whole bunch
dozens
of
of
other
them
ones.
that are deep in the forest that no one is going to go to see at all or
Exactly.
can go see. And you've got these 2 or 3 birds that are doing the heavy lifting for the conservation of that species in that area.
Yeah.
And
they're living pretty fat, too.
they're doing all right. They're doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, they're serving as advocates for this huge audience, and then they're also creating local tourism,
No doubt.
which is in turn
No
helping
doubt.
the conservation efforts. So.
I think that's one of the things that is amazing about Colombia is just that the organic growth of this kind of local birding community that's very
Yeah.
similar to the thing that we're familiar with in the US and Canada and the UK and Europe as well. Like there are Colombians who are not in the birding industry, who don't work in birding, who are birders in the way that we think about birders. And just to see that feels very unique in Latin America, and just to see that manifest in these new species that are being discovered and these new places that are being discovered is really fascinating. I just think they're doing such great work here, building that community, building young people, pulling young people into that community and finding all the million ways that people can be birders and effective conservationists through birding. It's been neat to see. That's one of the great things about this bird fair is that's front and center. That's
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
they're promoting.
Yeah. You and Chris were kind of talking earlier before we started recording about how we've in our little time here, we've already seen generations of young birders
Yeah.
become guides, and
Yeah.
even Roger, who's a veteran guide, I
Yeah.
remember him. He looked like he was about 15 the first time I met him.
He still looks like he's about
That's
15.
true.
Did I ever tell you the first time I ever went birding with Roger?
No.
We went to Caquetá department in the kind of where the Andes and the Amazon meet in South Colombia together. We were on they call them a fam trip here, the same a fam trip. And we went to this weird restaurant on the edge of the town where there's a zip line. And I went down the zip line first, kind of rickety, slightly dodgy zip line. We went down the zip line, and the zip line when it went down makes this kind of high-pitched, streaking, whistling noise, right? And I didn't know this at the time because I was obviously 200 meters away on the zip line. But apparently, the moment I went down the zip line, that shrieking noise attracted a huge swarm of bees from under the thing, who proceeded to sting Roger on every bit of his face. And I didn't know this. So when I came back up the hill, Roger had gone from being a sort of fresh-faced young man to being Quasimodo, it's like covered in bulges, feeling very sorry for himself, understandably. And yeah, that was one of the first times we ever hung
He
out
must
together.
have a talent for that because we did a weekend in Irida and we were looking for those capuchin birds.
Yeah.
And we twice went off trail and we twice got into a nest of hornets.
Yeah.
Well, he got nailed by those nocturnal hornets, which are apparently particularly painful. I managed to avoid
Well, he would know.
those.
He's a connoisseur.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, that's great marketing. Like, I will take the hit so you don't have to if you come on a trip with me.
Yeah, Roger Rodriguez, expert at being stung
Expert.
by hornets and wasps.
Yeah, really?
For
Wow.
pain
Not just a
endure.
good bird guide.
Yeah.
It's kind of incredible that we both have a Roger Hornet story. But speaking of what you were saying about, one of the things I love about coming to these events as well is that there are young kids here, and we talked about this earlier, is that, you know, the thing I love about these Colombian bird fairs is just the wide profile of people who are here. You've got really young kids up to older people, everyone in between. So I'm, you know, sometimes like I'm mid-30s and I feel old, which is an unusual experience, I think, in birding, to be one of the older people in your mid-30s. But there's loads of young people here. And the cool thing is a lot of them are young people that I remember meeting, like you said, with Roger, 7 or 8 years ago at these events, when they were, and I look at them now, and they're, you know, these kids who were 8, 9 when I met them, who are now, you know, 15, 16 years old. They're young adults.
Taking people around,
And they're
showing
guiding
birds,
some
making
of them.
big contributions.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really, like you said, one of the things I love about Colombia is that the birding scene here doesn't just exist to serve an international
tourists,
market.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so much
absolutely.
of an organic native birding scene. And it's so much fun as well, like birding with
Yeah.
people, just, you know, they call it here the parche, the kind of like the hang.
Yeah.
The birding
Yeah.
hang, you know,
Yeah.
rather than just you know, client and...
And I think one of
Yes.
your points before, Nate, too, was that that's one of the things that's exciting, not just for now, but when you think 10, 20 years down the road.
They're taking the long view here.
Yeah.
And that is, and like there's nothing wrong with, you know, just promoting ecotourism in your country. Though obviously a lot of places have done that and done a great job with it, and it's been very productive for conservation as well. But, you know, these kids, I was at the event this morning here at the Bird Fair where they gave these awards to these young people who participated in this. It's sort of a contest, but, you know, they're all doing things with birding. They made these really little videos, and so many of them were just so passionate and authentic in their interest in birds. And, you know, that stuff pays off. And not in next year, not 2 years, maybe not even in 5 years, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line. These are going to be the leaders of a birding community in all the different facets of the birding community, from conservationists to scientists to birding guides to just hobby birders. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's what we've seen in the United States and Canada. And to see it happening here organically and, you know, quickly
Yeah.
is really, really inspiring.
Yeah, it's powerful, and especially when you consider how much is at stake in terms of conservation.
For sure.
And how much, like we were talking before, the instability, preceded the last decade or so, in a way, helped actually ensure that certain parts were not developed.
Yeah.
You know, certain big tracts of land. And we all hope and pray that, you know, going forward, that these areas will be conserved. And, you know, with a growing youthful birding population, you know, it seems like the possibilities are endless. Really.
You're making advocates that are going to be able to get into these places and spread this message before the resource extraction people get in there, because they're going to be moving into these opening places too.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just feels like a real interesting thing happening.
Yeah.
And
Well, even now, I mean, like the contest that you were talking about, Guardian de las Aves, which
Exactly.
happens every year, where they sort of pick 10 young people. The videos you were talking about, I think this year's theme was why we shouldn't keep birds in cages.
so that would explain
Wow.
a lot of my
Huge-
Spanish is too poor
Yeah.
to figure that out, but there was definitely a theme.
But it's a huge industry, particularly on the Caribbean coast. You've got
Yeah.
a lot of, you've been to like Guajira, you've got the Nisada, you see things like, you know, vermilion cardinals in cages. It's a big industry up there. And that can have even a micro effect now, because if you've got the young kids asking their parents,
Yeah.
you know, Mom, Dad, why do you have this bird in the cage? You know, I love the bird, let them go. It might not seem like much, but that has a kind of rolling effect of, you know, influencing the parents as well, you know,
Yeah.
to do something different.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of what, we're looking over here, we've got Alexa from Pajareritos, which is a great example of one of these young clubs you're talking about. They've brought like 10 young kids by bus yesterday, all day driving from Wheeler
Yeah.
department.
They're from all over.
All over
All
these
over.
kids, yeah. And all ages, like there's 5-6-year-olds up to sort of
And
16,
some of them are just
17.
so poised and professional, like in front of a camera, on the mic. You can see how that translates into advocacy for these, for where they are. And then the older ones graduate to be mentors to the younger ones, and it's just this constant cycling of young people who are doing good work for birds, and it's fantastic. It's fascinating.
It's so cool to see these organizations and events that are set up to inspire kids like
Yeah.
that. It's just such a like positive take. It's not based in competitiveness. It's based in like inspiration and passion. It's really cool.
Yeah. an authentic passion. It's true. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you, Chris, if we kind of turn our shift like away from birders to birding locations.
Okay.
If you know, we've all of us now spent some time in the Central Andes, and I think the Santa Marta's is a well-known area. Those are people often ask me if they're gonna, because Colombia is so tough to take apart and figure out where to go because it's such a biodiverse place, and often I think a lot of folks start either in the Central Andes or in the Santa Marta's. If you were gonna like kind of push another area, what suggest someplace else to folks? Maybe other than Cali and the Western Andes.
I would say, my favorite department state in Colombia is Casanare, which is in the eastern plains, the Llanos Orientales. I think that area, in pure ecotourism terms, not just birding, but nature tourism in general, is, to use a cliche, one of the kind of hidden gems of not just Colombia but South America. That area has vast potential for. That's the place where you can go and see giant antietam, anaconda, giant otter. I've seen a puma there.
Sometimes jaguar.
Jaguar increasingly in Hato La Aurora, one of the reserves there. And again, as we say, as people keep visiting these areas and keep recording, more and more stuff's getting reported. Incredible birding. One of the best areas in Colombia to see zigzag heron, tricky bird, but jabiroos everywhere. Huge numbers of whistling ducks, ibis. All 6 Colombian ibis species in a day. All 4 Colombian resident kingfisher species in a day.
Wood storks and habaroos.
Habaroos,
whistling ducks
everywhere. And incredibly unique culture. One of the kind of pure kind of cowboy cultures of Latin American music. Completely unique, completely different food. For me, one of the great areas of Colombia, particularly the reserve called Altagracia, Lagunazo they call it sometimes as well. That area is I think 25-30% of the global population of Orinoco geese. So you go there and you literally see, I don't even want to call them flocks, they're more like herds. Herds of Orinoco geese on the plain, literally 2,000 Orinoco geese together in one flock herd thing. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
that place is special.
Yeah, I would like to get there. Molly and I were talking just a couple days ago about the Llanos and how we feel like it's sort of like you say, it's almost like a safari that you can do in South America.
Yeah.
It almost reminds you of the Pantanal, seasonal floodplain, gallery forest, and there's a lot to sink your teeth into there.
I love that answer because it's so different than what I think most people are picturing when you're talking about Colombian birding as well.
No, I think that's one of the things that still surprises me after 10 years in Colombia is how, I think when you grow up somewhere like England, it's sometimes hard to just wrap your head around how incredibly biodiverse a place can be because, we have a lot of nature and stuff, but you come here and it's just so incredibly abundant. Another place I would call out would be the southern Andean Amazon foothills in Putumayo, Caquetá region. That area, particularly a lodge called La Isla Escondida in Orito in Putumayo, which for me is one of the best bird lodges in Colombia right now. 800-900 meters above sea level, foothill, jungle, Amazon Andean, 2 massive observation towers up 75 feet up in the trees.
Don't they have little cabins even that you can
sleep up in the tree?
Yeah, you can stay up in
the
tree.
You can sleep 25 meters up, 75 feet up in the canopy of this massive tree.
Hope you don't
Paradise
sleep well.
tanagers coming But no, that place is something special. That's a Belgian guy called Jürgen Beckers, who wrote the original Where to Watch Birds in Colombia style book with Pablo Flores. He opened that place, and what he's done there is incredible. You're in the middle of the jungle. I spent Christmas there once, and he's an engineer, so his kind of ability to kind of build structures and stuff is great. And I remember having a video call with my parents in the middle of the jungle on Christmas Day. He's managed to get sort of Wi-Fi in all vegan menu. It really is it's a special place, and the birding there is something else. So that's like the antbirds, the Bushmaster. That's the place in Colombia to go for a Bushmaster.
Oh wow!
I've not seen it.
Wow.
Yeah. Take your Tomaseca, right?
Yeah.
That's one I would love to see in the right circumstances.
Exactly.
That's one that can go very wrong. Very fast.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about the drinks yet.
Oh yeah, that was on the aborted version of the podcast.
I forgot to press record.
Yeah, well, we also had them dragging those huge signs by initially.
Yeah, the timing was.
So we were drinking quite heavily.
Tell us about what we're drinking here a little bit.
So, like I said in the earlier version, we're officially drinking kombucha, but we've spiked it with biche, which is a Colombian Pacific region liquor, traditional kind of sugarcane distillate with herbal kind of touches from the Pacific coast. It was illegal until a couple of years ago. Now there was a biche law passed in 2021 that allows it can only be commercialized by Afro-Colombian communities in the Pacific Coast region. And we've also got Toma Seca, which is biche based, but is mixed with something like 40 different herbs, which supposedly has curative properties. And apparently some scientific studies on it have found that actually, it does have a positive impact on snakebite, which is
so if you get nailed by one of those bushmasters,
drink a fifth of it very fast. Or do you rub it on? I don't know how do you apply it?
Better do
in the
both.
zoo.
Give it a shot.
I think maybe Fair de Lance. I think that might be the ceiling. I'm not sure Bushmaster.
It might be the top end.
We can check it out. There's some poison frogs here too.
Oh, very good. Yeah, we'll start low.
Experiment. Touch everything and then next and and see how we get on.
Wow. So biche and what's this one again?
Toma Seca.
Toma Seca, which is a biche sort of spiced biche.
40 odd herbs mixed in with it.
Yeah, it's like KFC. All the kernels of spices.
Yeah, well, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, so, not only can you find great bird guides in Colombia, you can find some pretty good drinking guides as well. And look no further than Chris Bell.
One of the coolest things about having been in Colombia over the last 10 years is that it's not, what we're talking about with birding having exploded and bird culture is the same for everything. Gastronomy, everything down to things like craft beer in Bogota went from like one niche pub to 50. The Bogota's gastronomy scene, Medellin's catching up, Cali too is exploding. Like all of the kind of niche hobbies that you can think about, all of them at the same time are kind of blowing up because suddenly Colombia you've got a lot of young people coming back, a lot of like people whose families left, a few years ago when things were really bad here, are now coming back. A lot of people have now, Colombians can now travel visa-free to a lot more places. People are exploring not just their own country, but they're exploring other places. That's one of the cool things about tourism in Colombia in general is that it's rare to be in a country where national tourism and international tourism are exploding at the same time. Right?
That's what I was going to say. It does feel like since the conflict that it's always an opportunity for the country to kind of be at square one on a lot of these things and kind of build this society, this culture, this tourism economy from basically like bare bones scratch. And they seem to be, and this is just me, outsider looking in, doing a really good job of it. Thinking long term, thinking how are we going to make this last, not just for external tourism, but Colombians as well. And it's a unique situation for sure.
Yeah.
You see the buy-in at every level, especially
Absolutely.
at a place like this, and then just out birding anywhere in the country and staying at the lodges and going to the popular sites. You see it clear down to the local community being out there and just enjoying the birds.
Yeah, you gave your talk earlier. As another part of the conversation.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But even this is you've got a lot of people. You gave a talk about marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a lot of people that are very receptive to that message. Now.
When I walked in here to set up for the talk, which is marketing strategies for birding and conservation organizations, they came up and said that there were groups of young people who came in and they're coming to my talk, and I was like, why are they coming to a marketing talk? And he said, no, they're interested and they're passionate and they just want to hear about this perspective. And whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's not how I typically experience it in the U.S.
No. Yeah, it looked like you had a packed house in there, and people were. And the question session actually ran long enough that we were sitting here. We're like, is Molly going to make it out
ever
of there?
gonna make
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to have to drink more spiked kombucha?
That's right. We're not going to be fit for podcasting by the time she gets here.
Luckily, I arrived and I caught up, so it's all good.
And then I messed up the first take anyway. So
Yeah, just as well.
plenty of time to do the second.
It was
one.
golden. It'll be the great mystery. What happened in that first take?
Yeah. So Molly, I think I wanted to ask you about a place you've been to in Colombia that I've not been to, down south of here even, in sort of the Putumayo region, right?
Yeah.
El Encanto.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like?
Ooh,
Encanto. It's
look
great
over
name.
here. We have another.
The escape
Yeah.
To the goody.
Yeah.
Escape to
It's on the run.
Should we call the zookeeper?
I don't know if I like the look in
Look,
his
here comes the
Yeah,
zookeeper
there he
right
is.
now.
Yeah, he's trying to get him. Yeah.
On the agreement code.
Man. He's, it seems to like the crowd watching his slow chase.
He's shameless. He's just running all over the
He
show.
is, yeah. Well, okay, so El Encanto, I talked about this on the trip too. That is a really special place. I realize there are a lot of special places in
Yeah.
Colombia, but man, that was one of them. Just everything. This agouti's really distracting me. Man, how
Getting
cool.
close.
All right.
It's distracting everybody. I think everybody's
Yeah, that's right.
It
It's
is,
quite
yeah.
a crowd.
It's
gathering.
getting
Yeah.
way more of a crowd than we are.
I just realised that I said that the zookeeper was on
It's
the
more
agouti's
interesting.
tail, and looking at the agouti now, that feels like I misspoke.
It seems like he's been on his tail for a while.
It just seems
That's
like
why it's missing.
it's the lack of a tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, but El Encanto. I mean, first off, the birding is really incredible there. They've got, I don't know what the different elevations are between their main property and then their kind of higher spot that's farther up, but just that allows a lot of species diversity. So we could talk about the birding a lot, but the family and the setup is what was just so much fun. It's I think a 2-generation family that had originally a pretty small plot of land, I think maybe 15 acres or so. They started growing shade-grown coffee. It's dusk here. I might start getting some
Some parrots going on.
parrot
right?
movement.
Some
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah, like macaws.
They look like macaws. They had long tails. Are there macaws around? The small ones?
Definitely
The small
escapees
ones.
ones.
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
there chestnut fronted?
chestnut front.
Okay, that's probably what those
Yeah.
are.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Cool. Can I put them on my earbird list? They're not gonna.
No, eBird it.
Yeah,
he
got
read
it.
Ebert's got that figured out, right?
Yeah, they do now.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just the setup that is there. They just took this spot that's surrounded mostly by ag land and built this really, really beautiful lodge. They have fantastic food every night that just makes it wonderful, an incredible feeder setup. And then what I love, being my current passion of like native landscaping and that sort of thing, and silviculture that's just combining sustainability with agricultural practices, is their shade-grown coffee that's grown all throughout their hillside, that they have all just so much care and attention put into everything around this native landscape that is so meticulously crafted. And it's just the kind of place where you can just wander those same few trails over and over again, and it just never gets old. It
up
feels
new stuff
so
each time.
magical. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another one of my favourite places to go.
Yeah.
Is it?
Again,
yeah,
that
I was
family-
trying to think who had been here, but
Yeah,
had been
no,
there.
the family. We were talking earlier about Doña Dorda's place, and one of the great things about going there is how nice the family
It's a
are and
hawk.
everything. And it's the exact same thing with. It's the exact same thing with
roadside hawk. No.
with Michael and his family there in Canto, like, and,
Yeah.
and everyone's so involved. Like, you know, Don Tonio is the armpit or whisperer there. Michael's dad. Michael's the guide. Angela, his sister, who cooks the food.
Oh, her food was so
Unbelievable.
good. We actually did a cooking class while we were there. It was so much
Was
fun.
that where
Yeah,
it was? I
yeah.
saw the pictures
We
of
just
that.
went into the kitchen and prepared our meal together, and we made drinks too. And it was so much fun. Such a great way to spend an evening. Spectacular hummingbird setup,
Yep.
which is up higher on they have set feeders around their lodge too, and then they have gardening up there where they were like pulling the food for our dinner. It's just whole experience was wonderful.
That's another place where they are finding so many interesting birds for Colombia, just because that's an area where, again, it's the beauty of birding in Colombia. So many places where nobody was birding before, where now you've got a dedicated family, tourists coming as well,
Brilliant.
other birders coming.
Oh,
that
yeah.
place is one of my favourite. Yeah, again, that would probably be in the top. You asked me where the best places were.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was one that I could have easily mentioned.
How long has it been in existence? It feels like a lot of these places are relatively new.
I don't know when they very, very first started. I remember first starting to hear about it probably in about 2018 or 19, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say
think
about
I
4
went.
I was
years
kinda
is what-
thinking.
Yeah, because
I feel like
my
I've been hearing
my
about
I went
first visit
2020
to
for the
Colombia
first
was
time.
in 2016, and there was none of this. This stuff. There was none of this stuff. And
Yeah.
I remember talking to my guide about, they just need this lodge infrastructure. That's the only thing that is lacking. And
Yeah.
here we are, 7 years later, not even 7 years later, and it feels like that infrastructure just grew up out of almost nowhere. It's wild to see this all happen so fast.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, just the lodges in general. I think we could spend a lot of time talking about the
Yeah,
lodges.
there's some
because,
really fantastic
Yeah.
lodges here.
Not that I'm a very experienced traveler in Colombia, but of the places I've been, there's a lot I could talk about.
I think we're also still in that really wonderful stage where it's still really local and it really
Yeah.
has that personal family touch.
Absolutely.
You know, and I hope that always kind of remains. I think there's a good chance of that remaining in Colombia just because this is such an open and friendly culture that I think that the
Seems like it.
hospitality is such a big part of Colombia's identity in tourism, is that we're the friendliest country, we're the most welcoming
Yeah.
country, and they have a good claim to it.
Yeah,
along
yeah.
with the
I
birding
wouldn't
culture.
argue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's one thing. Like my first trip was 2016 as well. Was to the bird fair here and to the Northern Columbia Birding Trail. John Meyer set up a trip. Me and Albert were on it, and bunch of other folks that people would know, and it was a ton of fun. It was one of the most fun trips I've ever done. But coming home from the bird fair that year, I just felt like I had sort of instant community in this country that I'd never been to before, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just, people were super, super welcoming. And,
Yep.
and that was kind of part of what we wanted to try to recreate for folks on this trip that we've done here, is to try to, bring folks in and let them see not just what Colombia birds are like, but what Colombia birders are like as well.
Yeah.
And that part has been really, really fun. Running into all these different groups this week, all these different guides, people helping each other out. I mentioned to you Yesenia, who called us up just after we moved ahead of her. She was guiding her group, and we had moved on ahead, and she called us up. She's like, "I got the rufous fronted parakeets here." We go zipping back down the hill, and it was a new bird for all of us.
Yeah.
That kind of thing's just, it's not that uncommon here, which is, a lot of places you just don't get that kind of camaraderie, that kind of hospitality, as you say.
I think it's really nice
special.
what you're doing as well, bringing tours down here and actually coming to the bird fair, attending the bird fair, because
I'm really excited about this model.
Yeah, and I think it's a really nice way to connect, like you said, international birders with Colombian birders. That's a positive impact on Colombian birders too, because I think whenever you have something, it really helps people to know that the thing that they have in their land or in their garden is of excitement and interest for people from outside the country. It gives people a sense of pride as well, right?
That's
It's like,
true.
wow, okay, people really excited about our birds. And a lot of times you go to these lodges or these birds. I remember going to a harpy eagle nest in Caquetá once, and it was on a land that had nothing to do with birding. And these young kids were coming out, and they were blown away to find out that me, a person from England, had come to their little corner of Caquetá to see a bird. They couldn't believe it. But it's the same all over the country. People just being like, it's really great to connect international birders with Colombian birders, especially the young ones.
Yeah. I've thought about this before, and I hadn't been able to put my finger on it. But like we were saying, it's that the national birding culture is evolving at the same time as the international culture, because you get these gaps in some places where there's a lot of international tourism, but then there's not the connection to the local birders.
Exactly right.
This is a really cool way to merge that.
No, I would say more people, even if they're not doing a tour necessarily with an agency, this is a great way to come down, do some really great birding, meet a lot of people. I mean, if more people, included 3 days at the Cali Bird Fair or the Manizales Bird Fair, which I think, have you been to the Manizales Bird Fair? That's another great one.
I went to the South American Bird Fair in
Manizales.
Manizales.
Yeah. A great way to kind of throw in 3 extra days on your trip, do some great birding, meet some
Absolutely.
people. I mean, even just the commercial stalls here. I mean, there's some people making beautiful artwork, products, really nice stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
I just come back to this idea that it really feels like they're doing it the right way, with a view towards sustainability of this industry, of this community. It's wonderful to see, and it's really inspiring, and it feels like you're kind of on the cutting edge of something a lot of times when you come down here. Like you're really part of this big movement, and that's part of the exciting thing about visiting Colombia as well. Everyone's very excited about birders here. Everyone's very excited about birding, and obviously very proud of the fact that Colombia has the largest list in the world. I mean, you can tell, like, the Colombian Tourist Agency heard that. They're like, this is a thing. Let's do it. And hey, lo and behold, here we are.
Kudos to them. I mean, shameless plug of the company I work for. We made the Birders documentary with my Birders show, Carlos Diego, in 2018, and I mean, in a sense, kudos to the tourism, the tourist government at that time, because they invested in 5 nationwide documentaries about birding. Not even just about birds, about birding. Those documentaries are as much about birding culture as they are about just birds. It's not a kind of, with all due respect, like an Attenborough-style documentary with a narrative voice. No, this is like a road trip movie about birding in Colombia.
Yeah, the culture of birding is front and center.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in a sense that kind of period, I remember the first time I met Diego was 2017 at the Bird Fair, and he came up to the stage and gave a little brief talk imploring Colombians to submit lists for the Global Big Day 2017, because Colombia in the previous 2 or 3 editions had languished in 3rd or 4th place with very few people out birding. That year, 2017, it was incredible to see the drive and energy behind it for the next years after that, for Colombia to be number one. Like the Colombian National Airline comping tickets for birders to fly all around the country to help support.
I didn't realize that.
That's
awesome.
wild.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and that area, that period, this bird fair, the Birders documentary, all those things, I think also helped to give people a sense of kind of pride, not just in the birds, but the culture of birding. That, we do it our way here as well. That Colombian birding is fun, is laid back, is exciting, and I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I often get a little nervous before birding festivals. Like, like I'm excited for them, but like I get a little nervous. Like, you're going to see a lot of people. It can be a little overwhelming at times, and like, but I think the pandemic was definitely a factor. But like coming over here today, I was just nothing but excited.
Me too.
I was like, I'm going to see you guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to see a bunch of other people. I didn't realize there was going to be like spectacled parrotlets going to roost around us and a crazy agouti running around.
Yeah.
But also like that this is the first real Columbia Birding Festival post-pandemic. You can tell people, it's like we're back. People are excited about that.
Yeah.
And I think, it's just there's a lot of really good energy.
I felt the exact same. I didn't know exactly what to expect for this event, but from the Colombian events that I've been to and seeing the Colombian presence at other international birding events, I knew it would be really exciting, and I knew it would be high energy, and I knew it would be a lot of fun. And it would be well planned, and that there'd be a lot going on. So it has not disappointed so far.
Yeah.
Cali's a fun city as well. I'm assuming, George, we're going to get you dancing some salsa at some point.
I've heard. I've had.
few nights.
You're
Have
like
you
the
seen the
fourth
videos?
person that is talked about.
World
We gotta
capital,
go
world
do
capital of
salsa.
salsa.
We've got like 4:30 a.m. calls on a couple of the
That is
days.
No
true.
excuse,
And,
Nate. No excuse around
It's gonna roll
2017,
straight from the
I remember.
discotheque right to the bus.
We did that in 2017 for one birding trip. I remember going straight from a night at I think it was La Topa Tolondra, one of the big salsa clubs in Cali, back to the Spiwak, like a teeth brush, hairbrush,
and out.
and birding clothes on and out to kilometer 18 or something.
I've already been warned by our buddy John Myers, who was just here earlier and got me on my first trip. I think you and
Yeah,
Nate
exactly.
also first
Yep.
trip to Colombia, and he was like, "Don't make the mistake. First night of bird fair, everybody's jazzed up. You go out, you have too many beers, and then you're dragging ass the whole next day. You start at 4 a.m. So he was like, "Don't make that mistake. Wait till the end, and then party a little bit." But so we're trying to pace ourselves tonight. We'll see how we do.
I think
Maybe
this is
Sunday night right before I leave.
I think this might be the first time I've ever actually stayed at the hotel Spiwak where the buses leave from. Normally, I used to be in backpacker hostels around this area in San
you
Antonio,
make
so
a
I had to get
trek.
up half an hour earlier even
Yeah.
than. At least now I'm on
yeah.
the second floor. I can just walk down one set of stairs and I'm in the pub.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
It's very nice that we're departing from the hotel.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah.
Oh, y'all are at Spiwak as well.
We are.
Oh, very good.
We can just have a party there.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Breakfasts are very good.
Yeah.
We won't be there for them.
No, yeah, right. Maybe ask for them early. Yeah.
I'll never get to try one.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing any salsa dancing though. I wouldn't want to wish that on anyone. I would love to watch some salsa dancing, and I was mentioning at our lunch earlier today how there is actually video of me and Roger at the ABA event we held here a few years ago, where they brought in the salsa dancers, and they pretty much pick people out of the crowd and they pretty much insist that you dance, whether you can dance or not.
I thought Colombia was the friendliest country, not the pushiest.
Oh, there's some thoroughly embarrassing video. I mean, mind you, Roger's got some moves.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, I told him I was like, these hips do lie.
They are lying to you right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, if you've seen the latest episode we did of the show, then you'll see Diego and I dancing salsa.
I did see that.
At
yeah.
Delirio here in Cali, and,
Yeah.
and according to our Instagram poll, I'm just saying, I beat Diego
I
on
was
the.
like, Chris, I was
That's a
pretty
feather in
impressed.
your
I was
cap.
pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Not too shabby.
not too bad. Not too shabby. There you go. We're making that happen as a catchphrase. Diego, not too shabby.
Yeah. Well, I think we got a lot of good stuff coming up in the next couple of days. Anything anybody is particularly excited about over the next couple of days that we haven't chatted about yet? I know Toucan Barbet is high on the
Toucan
list.
Barbet is high on my list.
The
Yeah.
cheese empanadas at Doña Dora's place.
Yes, I would like to hear that horn screamer.
That's
at
what I
some
was
point.
going to say.
Yeah.
It's up there for me.
Yeah, that's such a weird call. It's like a giant swallowing. It sounds like something like swallowing pudding incredibly loudly. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, that would be I would like to see people's everyone else's faces that hasn't been here before when the horn screamer starts sounding off. That'd be way cool. I'm not sure that'll happen with just one there. It's kind of like a vagrant horn screamer, isn't it? It's like,
No, I think there's a pair there. I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly. No, I think this is the lower point of their range. Sonso turns up some real surprises. They've had flamingos turn up over the years. They've had Orinoco goose, stuff like that. This is one of the biggest wetlands in in the entire Andean region of Colombia.
It's sort of like a relic patch of what the rest of the Cauca Valley might have looked like, decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even like I said, throws up surprises during the shoot there that we had. I think we got the first ever continental record for this department of white rum sandpiper.
Oh wow!
For example, which probably isn't that rare, but we've talked about this before on the show that waders are a little bit underappreciated in Colombian birding and therefore consequently a bit underreported, I think. But
yeah, you got to go way south to get the white rums probably.
Whatever the tortoise thrush. What's the normal tortoise thrush around
Black-billed.
here? Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw one of our guys, Bart Hutchinson. I saw him looking up, and I was like, "Oh, there's a female vermilion."
Oh yeah, it was in the parking lot. I got that one. Okay, so I'm glad you have to take that off your list.
Yeah,
when I share it with you.
Yeah, I caught up. Yeah. I think we had one thing I wanted to talk about, which I thought was kind of a fun thing. We just did this Hillstar trip to the Santa Martas. And that's in the car alarm that'll hopefully go off. Oh, good, dude. And in the Santa Martas, we're up there, up high, just on the San Lorenzo Ridge there. And I hear Roger kind of like mumbling to himself a little bit, and he turns around and he goes,
"Hornets."
Yeah.
Screaming.
Yeah, luckily it wasn't a hornet this time. But he looks at me and he goes, "George, there's something here. I don't know what it is." And I was like, "Huh." What's that going to be? And Jerry Hawkins, who was one of my people in my group, who was from Virginia, at that moment he goes, "Oh look, here's a yellow-rumped warbler."
Oh wow!
Wow, that's wild.
So here's this
Colombia.
myrtle warbler, and it was apparently the 8th or so.
Yeah, I
for
can't imagine
Colombia
there's
or
very
something.
many.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny to see this fun vagrant. And Molly and I missed. We were up at Hacienda del Bosque, and I guess 2 days before we were there, they had a brown pelican.
I saw the eBird reports of that. That's
it was
crazy.
The thing was I don't know if it was actually in a thermal, but the video kind of makes it look like it was it's like soaring over Bosque del Apache, 11,000 feet or something.
That's got to be on the short list of weirdest birds ever in central Colombia.
It was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I, to be honest, when I first saw the eBird alert I didn't really believe it, but there's photos and everything. I saw the eBird list. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. And Chris, speaking of vagrant birds, I know you got 2 new birds for your list. Now, you're marching towards 1,400 now?
No, marching towards 1,500.
You're marching towards 1,500 in Colombia.
So I twitched, basically, Lesser Scorp and Chuck Will's widow in Antioquia department, not far from Medellin. I had kind of a loose end on a weekend, and there's been a Chuck Will's widow that's been perched on basically the same branch in Cocorná, not far from Medellin, for about 30 straight days. And these lesser scorp, which have tipped up in a reservoir near Medellin. And neither one of these are common birds for Colombia. We had some fun stuff at the same time. We also found the second ever report of comb duck for Antioquia department in a wetland in Medellin, which was pretty cool. And a few lifers down in Rio Claro. I don't know if you've heard of Rio Claro Reserve.
I've been there once.
Yeah, that's a great birding as well. The nunlet there, which was a cracking bird. To be honest, that's the thing I love most about Colombia, is that even at nearly 1,500 species, there are still so many parts of the country that I haven't been to yet, I haven't birded yet, some birds to see. But yeah, it felt a bit weird twitching the lesser scorp.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many people, was there a crowd of people?
There was genuinely a crowd.
No way.
There were a dozen.
That is a mature birding culture right there.
A dozen
that is the
Colombian
indicated.
A dozen Colombian birders there.
That's serious.
Yeah. But again, I think a little bit of it has to do with the fact that, like I said, wetland birds, ducks, waders, are a bit lower down on the radar of a lot of Colombia, because why would they be that high up if you've got hummingbirds and tanagers and umbrella birds and cotingas, right?
Yeah.
So, waders and ducks and stuff may be a little bit overlooked sometimes in these areas, but yeah, lesser scorp. Yeah, nice view. And the Chuckwell's widow was pretty cool.
Oh, that's
Chuckwell's widow is a cool bird.
Yeah, genuinely great bird. Yeah.
Anytime you see a Chuckwell's widow, that's a good one.
Especially, yeah. Yeah, well, Chris, and I know we're coming up on the hour here.
Yeah.
So
We did it.
We are.
Close.
If we include the failed first take, then we're past it now.
Maybe we'll add some of that in just for ambiance.
Yeah.
Folks can probably hear the ambient noises picking up here as dusk kind of settles in.
It's a beautiful evening.
It really
gorgeous.
is.
Yeah, we were a little afraid we might get rained on here late in the day here in Colombia.
It drizzled on my first arrive.
Yeah, we're set up in kind of an open area.
First bat.
Oh yeah.
Murciélago. Yeah.
Do you know the species?
Colombian bat. I had no idea.
Put it on my memo list. I need it for my memo list.
So what's the Spanish word for bat?
Murciélago.
Murciélago, which
Nice word.
Little mouse, right?
Is that what it means, actually?
I don't know.
I don't
Guessing.
know.
So, no.
But I learned a piece of trivia that is the only Spanish word that contains all the vowels.
Shout out to
I did not know
Roger.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a Roger
Huh.
fact?
That's a
It's a
Roger
Roger
fact.
fact.
Nice,
Yeah.
okay.
Only Spanish word.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
That's a good
You'd be
piece of
hard-
Thanks,
trivia.
thank you for that. I never used
Yeah.
that.
Hard pressed to find another. Well, we should probably wrap up here, guys. Chris, thanks for the biche.
Yeah,
And,
let's break out the
Break
other
out
one.
the Tomaseca.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Move on to that. We'll spare folks
hard
our
stuff.
inane babble once we get into that. But thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Chris. Molly and I are thrilled to be doing this with you. We're
My
really
pleasure.
excited.
My pleasure.
The next couple of days are going to be a ton of fun.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a blast.
Yep.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
So thanks to you guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to Koa Sporting Optics, who's not only our sponsor, but the sponsor of this event as well.
And the Birder Show.
And of the Birder Show.
Oh man, I got to get on that gravy train.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Boughton is here. We're looking forward to seeing him
Yeah.
as well. But thanks, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Yep.
Everyone.